WHOW Morning Show this morning streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guests in studio today, the dynamic duo of Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group. Boss, how you doing?
Great. Good morning, Seth.
Yep,
how are you?
I'm well, thanks. And Jack Hart, founder of ILSportsWire. Good to see you, Jack.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming out, guys, and talking with us. And all right, Matt, let's start with you. I know August 1, obviously, you took over, and everywhere I go in Clinton, everybody wants to know, how's the new owner? What are things like at the radio station? I tell them, obviously, only good things. How are things going for you?
It's been great. We're really excited to be the new owners of our local media outlet here at WHOW and WEZC, and it's been great. You and Ben and the entire team are doing a great job, and we're just continuing on serving the local community. Right, this is what this is all about. We're here to serve our local community. We're here to tell the local stories. We're here to cover the news, and so nothing in that regard is changing. But we've done a few changes. Some people, and we'll talk about it in a minute, one of those changes with ILSportsWire. But our goal is connecting people, and that's our tagline at Hart Media Group. It's connecting people. And so whether it's on our AM, our FM, our video, our social media, our camera, that we got here in studio, it's all about local people and telling those local stories. And we're really excited to be doing that. We're excited to be adding some new components to this. So I was talking with someone last night at a meeting in Bloomington, and they said, we see your stuff and your news coverage on Facebook now. And so again, it's wherever we can connect with people, that's where we want to be. But it's really exciting. We're happy to be part of the communities here. We've just had a great fall high school sports season, and we're gearing up now already for the winter season. And but it's just been great. This community is full of great people, and we're here to tell those stories and to connect those people.
Sure. One of the things I get a lot as I'm out is, who is this guy? What's his deal? Is he local? Tell us about yourself, Matt.
Well, so the story and how Hart Media Group ended up owning the radio stations and the media company here in Clinton and DeWitt County and Central Illinois is I actually worked, was sat right where you are now, behind the mic. In high school and college, I worked for Randy Miller, Miller Media Group, that has owned this station since 2008. Started in Taylorville, my hometown, and so I've always had a relationship with Randy Miller. Have watched him build all the radio stations that he's built out, and then just an opportunity came up a few years ago. Randy wanted to retire. He wanted to make sure that whoever bought his radio stations would keep things local. He's very passionate about keeping things local, and he knew my heart for local sports, my heart for local news, my heart for local communities, and serving the markets that we serve in Clinton, Monticello, and Taylorville, and the cluster down there. And so things came together, and we reached an agreement to purchase. And as you mentioned, we closed August the 1st. So as August the 1st, Miller Media Group is now Hart Media Group, and we're continuing to serve the people of Clinton and DeWitt County and Monticello and Bloomington and Decatur and everywhere, because we'll just keep connecting people as we've been doing.
Sure. What is your your business background, Matt? I know you've got your hand in a lot of places.
Yeah. So a lot of people might know me around the Illinois State Capitol building. I've been an advocate for the trucking industry for over 20 years.
By the way, can I ask, how did you get involved with that? You and trucking, I never put that together when I first met you.
I was not planning on being in the trucking industry, but my father-in-law was in the association world, and he's the one that got me into lobbying and association work and advocacy. And I started that in 2005, and then eventually started lobbying for the Illinois Trucking Association, and then they needed to hire an executive director in 2011. And so I took on that role, and again, I've been in the Capitol building for over 20 years now, and have been around. Was there last week as well with the veto session. But
did you stay around till 4:30 in the morning?
I stayed around online until about 2 a.m. But yeah, we watched what happened at 2 a.m. then at 4 a.m.
Gotcha. Sure. So also working with Christian County Economic Development, correct?
Yeah. So helping out with the Christian County Economic Development Corporation, that's our advocacy group for business and growing business in Christian County in the Taylorville area. And they've had some great successes in Taylorville. In fact, we had a meeting yesterday with another potential developer But yeah, we do a lot of work behind the scenes in making sure that we keep the employers that we have, keep the jobs that we have, but also track the jobs that are not here yet.
Sure.
So again, it all goes back to advocacy. It goes back to just communication with people, connecting with people, which has worked really well with Hart Media Group and when what we're doing right here.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's speak to that a little further. Again, Matt Hart is the owner of the Hart Media Group. Obviously my new boss, and in studio with us, Jack Hart, founder of ILSportsWire, with us as well today. We'll hear from Jack in a little bit. So Matt, I go back to just the conversations around our ownership change, and people want to know who you are, what's your background, but they also want to know, okay, what's going to change? Are you going to change a lot of things? What's your vision for what's next for this company?
Yeah. So our vision, again, it all comes back to that tagline, connecting people, right? So, but it's 2025 and we're constantly asking ourselves, where are people? How do people connect? And we want to make sure that we're there to connect with them. Where are people getting their news? How do we cover that news and get that to them? We're doing that on our AM and FM radio waves, but we're also doing it with our website. We're doing it with DeWitt Daily News. We're doing it with our social presence on our social media platforms. So, and we know there are more changes to that coming that as well. So we're ready to navigate that, but video we knew would be a big piece of that. And so, and that's why folks have probably seen a lot more video content coming out of WHOW and DeWitt Daily News. And that's why we also added things like ILSportsWire. We know how important local sports are to communities, especially communities like Clinton and Monticello and Central Illinois. And so that's why we created a whole new product, really kind of wrote the rule book on ILSportsWire, and but it's been very, very well received. We're completely blown away. We actually just looked yesterday. We're getting, believe it or not, 2 million views a month from this new platform that's 10 weeks old. So people want to tell those stories. They want to share those stories, and we will continue to provide platforms for those people to connect that way.
Sure. I want to, if it's okay, I want to speak to some expansion we've done up here in Clinton on social media. We've added TikTok, obviously ILSportsWire, but we've added TikTok for WHOW. We've added Instagram for WHOW. Our Facebook page is well received. A lot of people are seeing the content we are putting there. A lot of what you see on Facebook is also on our Instagram, and everything is under the handle of WHOW 1520. We wanted to keep true to, obviously the iconic WHOW call letters, and 1520, everybody knows 1520. So if you're on those other platforms, I want to encourage folks to go and search those out, because a lot of what we're putting on Facebook is also at those places.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, we're going to cover your local news. We're going to be dedicated to agriculture. Ag is such a huge part of our industry. So we're obviously, if you're tuning in the radio, that you're going to see that in our news, but then you're also going to see that local sports coverage as well as the local news coverage as well. And you're exactly right. And you guys are doing a great job. And we hear that. I was at a meeting last night, and people are telling me about, we're seeing your stuff on social media now, which is, again, we'll connect with people wherever they are.
Right. And so I wonder, Matt, if you could speak to future growth with the video side of things. What do you have vision for where we take that next?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're navigating, because there's obviously video is very important, right? And it's this, it's this what we call the second screen, right? It's the phone, because now we don't watch television one screen at a time. We're constantly watching two screens. You're watching, you might be watching the University of Illinois football game on Saturday on your big screen, but you've got your phone there. And when a commercial comes on, or a timeout comes on, or just your phone buzzes, you're watching that second screen. And we want to make sure that we're positioned to be on the second screen, whether it's social media, whether it's DeWittDailyNews.com or other platforms, or platforms that we don't know yet. We want to be there. And just like you mentioned, TikTok, TikTok is the fastest growing platform out there. We have to make sure we're out there to connect with people where they are.
Sure. On the news side of things, that's, and I was talking to you yesterday about this. People in Clinton and DeWitt County are passionate about their local news. They're passionate about their city government. They're passionate about the school board. They're passionate about the county board. And I think where we are taking video with those things is really exciting. For example, Monday night at the city council meeting, there was one of the officers recognized for a life-saving effort of a DeWitt County sheriff's corrections officer. That video is exploding on Facebook, and I would say more of that is to come. Is that fair, you think?
Yeah, and again, that's a platform we didn't have available a couple of years ago. We could tell the story in that format, or people weren't out there following it on their format. So yes, that's a new one. And you and I actually were talking that night. Look, this video is blowing up, because as long as we can keep telling those stories, whether it's on the radio, whether it's on video, whether it's on DeWittDailyNews.com, or whether it's on our social platforms, we will always be committed to telling those local stories and connecting local people.
Agriculture, you mentioned that. That is a huge piece of what we do up here. Obviously our ag audience is enormous. Speak to, maybe what the future of that looks like, or do we know a future of what ag looks like at this point?
Well, it's been a challenging year in ag, right? But we're here to continue to tell those stories of what's going on out there, and that's why we do things like the combine reports. And I know you're going to be, in December, you're going to be covering the statewide meeting for the Farm Bureau. And again, it's just telling those stories and keeping people connected. Agriculture is a huge part of our economy. It's a huge part of our livelihoods, especially in areas like this. And so we want to be there to tell those stories. And again, as we have, as the platforms change, and now we have younger people who come in, and I'll give you an example. I had one person tell me, they said, my dad listens to the AM station, or my grandpa listens to the AM station, my dad's listening to the FM station, and I'm watching our stuff on social media. So those are 3 generations of ag. We need to be there for each one of those generations.
Right.
And again, and so we're committed to that. We'll tell those stories. We'll keep people informed. We'll give them their local news, give them their local sports, no matter what the platform is.
Sure. We've mentioned ILSportsWire a couple of times. I know we're going to speak to Jack about that in just a minute, but people are seeing that on social media, and there's probably questions of like, okay, is ILSportsWire, Hart Media? Is it WHOW? How would you describe ILSportsWire, Matt?
So I would describe ILSportsWire, it's a new platform at Hart Media Group. Just like Hart Media Group has WHOW on AM, we have WHOW on FM, we have WEZC. This is another platform for us, ILSportsWire. And that platform, while it's not on the radio, but it is a digital format that we have. We've got the website, ILSportsWire.com. We've also got social media, and that's really where we've seen this take off is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And again, that's why we've gotten, right now we're averaging 2 million views a month from the content that we're putting out there, because there are local stories to be told out there. And by the way, and Jack will talk more about this in a minute, when we started ILSportsWire, we did not want to be just covering what's on the field and what's on the court. We want to cover the cheerleaders. We want to cover the band. We want to cover the sports boosters. We want to cover the fans, because those, especially in small towns, those sporting events they're a community event, and it's more than just what's going on the court. But we want to bring that personal touch. That's why we do the interviews afterwards. That's why we focus on all aspects of what's going on there, not just what's going on in the court, because there are so many great stories to be told through our local sporting events.
Yeah. I think of on our Facebook feed, the Monticello band stuff coverage we've been giving them the last few weeks, blowing up. So,
and who's been covering the band? No one, and that's what's so exciting about this, Seth. No one has been covering this stuff before. No one has been covering the cheerleaders, the band, the fans. But that's where the stories are. And we want to tell those stories, and we've got the platforms to do it. We've got ILSportsWire to do it. It's growing, exploding, and in fact, we're gearing up already for basketball season and looking for support for that as well.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, let's dive into ILSportsWire next. Matt Hart is the owner of the Hart Media Group. He's our new boss here at WHOW and DeWittDailyNews.com. And then we'll talk with Jack Hart, who is the founder of ILSportsWire, when we come back on the WHOW Morning Show. WHOW.
Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today, again, Matt Hart is the owner of the Hart Media Group, our new boss here at WHOW and DeWittDailyNews.com, and Jack Hart, founder of ILSportsWire. And we're going to talk with Jack in this segment. And folks, like we mentioned, Jack, are probably seeing your posts of ILSportsWire to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. Tell us about ILSportsWire.
Yeah, so ILSportsWire really started as an idea. I grew up in Rochester, Illinois, which is a small community. We love our small towns. Small sports are super important to, me and to Hart Media Group. And we said, you know what? There's a lot of small towns and around the Clinton area, around the Taylorville area. They've never had that coverage. They've never had that coverage on their phone, that video that you can go after the game and really see what happened in the game. You hear your highlights, you read it in the newspaper, but no one's had that digital aspect, the digital side to it. So we decided to go and create ILSportsWire, which once again is only 10 weeks in. And what we do is we go to these small towns, we get the coverage of what's going on at your football game, what's going on at your basketball game this winter. And we try to get all of that aspect to it, the cheerleaders, the coaches, the fans. There's so much more to a game than just what's going on the field, on the court. There's so much more with the fans being out there supporting. It's a community event, as Matt said earlier, that it's super important to have that community aspect to it. And we want to bring as much, community engagement as we can to, that live really, video on your phone.
You're one person. How are you at all these places?
Yeah, and it's been a process, but I have a wonderful team. I have about 5 people who work under me. They go out there with the camera, they get the films, they go in there and they send them either to me or to send it to some of my editors. We put out all the videos and we do it in a timely fashion. One of my main goals of ILSportsWire is we want to have all of those highlights, all those reels out as fast as we can, because it's important. You want to make sure you get after the game that you get to see what happened really at that game. I don't want to wait 2 to 3 days after to get out any of those clips. So my team has been absolutely spectacular this fall, hoping to hopefully expand it here, coming in with more high schools. And we're doing a great job. We have a great aspect, a great process that's really working in a successful way for us.
Sure. You mentioned football, really kind of the first venture into this, and it feels like, as particularly up here, north of Taylorville in the Clinton market, it feels like the more and more we do, the more and more traction we're gaining. Just what's been the reception like? And you can speak to Taylorville, you can speak to Clinton, Monticello, all these places. What's the reception been like?
Yeah, I think up here, if you look at Clinton, Monticello, once again, they're going to playoffs this weekend. We're excited for that game. I know Seth will be covering that. Clinton has had a great response. My first game ever for ILSportsWire was a Clinton football game. Clinton got to play Central A&M. The result was not, it wasn't a great result, but the fans there, the cheerleaders there, the atmosphere, that wonderful field that they have, it was so receptive. And then we went and put those posts out with some of our big plays for our Clinton Maroons, for our Central A&M who was there. Monticello, we have a guy over there, Lane Lyman. He's doing absolutely wonderful. He's getting the band. He's getting the locker room stuff. He's getting the coaches.
Lyman's the best.
Lyman he's such a wonderful kid.
Yeah.
He's super, he's got a great spirit. He has a great time over there. And he's just done wonderful things for that Monticello community.
And that's the thing, for us, Jack, is like we're going into these places and we're putting people in the community that know the kids, know the teams, know the town. We're putting them in those situations because they know what they're looking for. They know what makes that Friday night experience unique, basketball. They know what makes that basketball experience in their gym unique. That's what I like about what we've done. It's like, hey, we need somebody in that town to cover this for us.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't know ILSportsWire doesn't stand for Illinois. It stands for It's Local Sports. Because I
had no idea.
So we want to so we want to make sure that it is local. And a lot of people said Illinois sports. No, it's local. And going to our towns, every person on my team is a local person from that town that goes in there to those games. Lyman's from Monticello. Kylie's from Shelbyville. Lene, she's from Taylorville. Central A&M, we have a girl from Central A&M there. We want to have the most local. Gavin's from Clinton. We try to bring in these local guys and local people because it's important. They know, as you said, they know the community, they know the courts, they know the fans, they know the students. And that's what we like. We want to keep it as local as we can because it's important that communities have that local focus and can be promoted in that way because a lot of times these small towns are overshadowed. And that's something we are bringing with ILSportsWire, and super excited to keep really expanding here in the future. I know there's several towns around here that we're looking at, hopefully in the future, to bring ILSportsWire too.
Sure. Jack, dream big with me here for a second, my friend. Where do you want this to go? What do you envision next for ILSportsWire?
Yeah, we want ILSportsWire. Once again, we're only 10 weeks in, and we appreciate all of our sponsors, all of our support. If you're looking to sponsor and support us, you can go to contact@ilsportswire.com or really message us on Facebook or anything. But really the future for ILSportsWire is to go to these small towns, these communities that we haven't even touched yet, and go in there, find a good sponsor who can support us, and then go find a local person to do the camera work out there. We want it to all be local. And I believe there's so many small towns in the central Illinois area that we can reach out to. And we already have 7 or 8 schools. We just expanded to Rochester here for winter sports. Okaw Valley, which is just south of Decatur, we just expanded to.
Oh, wow, nice.
And we're looking, of course, around the Clinton and Monticello area. So there's a lot of super exciting things, and we hope to really bring that ILSportsWire, its local aspect, to bring more support for Central Illinois.
How do folks find ILSportsWire, Jack?
Yeah, there's several ways you can do that. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you look up ILSportsWire, you will find our content. We're on there. Once again, we have 2 million views on there. I have people from Chicago, Colorado, across the nation seeing our content. It's absolutely wonderful. I also have been working very tirelessly on a brand new website, ILSportsWire.com. It is up and running. It's still in the process. I got some more things to do, but it's looking really nice. And all of our content that we post on our socials will be on the website as well.
Sure.
So you can go to both of those. And if you're looking to, once again, sponsor, give us a message at contact@ILSportsWire.com, or you can go to the messenger to send that information.
Sounds great. Matt, Jack, thanks for your time this morning. Good to have you.
Thanks,
Again,
Seth.
Matt Hart, our new boss here at WHOW. Jack Hart, founder of ILSportsWire. You've probably seen it on Facebook and YouTube. Check it out, ILSportsWire. Network news on the way.